Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. If you've been following the news lately, you know it's been a total whirlwind, but looking at the headlines for June 22nd, 2026, we are seeing a truly fascinating global shift emerge from the data. Let's unpack this together. The numbers today point to something really interesting. We are moving past the volatile extremes of the last few years and stepping firmly into an era of, well, pragmatic reality. We're seeing this maturation happen literally everywhere right now, from international diplomacy all the way to the stock market, and right down to the software you use every single day. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We've got 5 key areas to hit. First, diplomacy cools global markets. Second, AI faces ROI reality. Third, energy, cyber, and infrastructure. Fourth, reshaping the modern workforce. And finally, the next frontiers. Let's dive in and see how all these pieces fit together. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Diplomacy Cools Global Markets. Geopolitics stabilize and shift market momentum. So the breaking news driving this stabilization just dropped. At 4 p.m. Central, Reuters reported that U.S.-Iran negotiations have made significant progress toward a permanent agreement. The two nations have actually hammered out a 60-day roadmap, with Qatar and Pakistan stepping up as key mediators. And crucially, Iran has agreed to let UN nuclear inspectors return. The White House is leaning heavily into diplomacy over any renewed Middle East escalation right now. And man, the single diplomatic lever is having a profound ripple effect across the globe. And you can see the direct market reaction to that ripple effect playing out in a major rotation. The technology sector is actually in retreat today. Mega-cap tech firms, specifically Alphabet, are leading the declines and kind of dragging down both the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. But on the flip side, the Dow Jones is gaining tremendous strength, and that's being driven almost entirely by a surge in healthcare and industrials. Investors are basically taking a breath, looking at a stabilizing geopolitical landscape, and shifting their money accordingly. Which brings us to Section 2, AI faces ROI reality, from blind hype to hard numbers. That tech sector retreat we just talked about, it's absolutely crucial to understand. This isn't a tech crash, it's a much-needed maturation of the market. So you kind of have to ask yourself, is the AI honeymoon officially over? Look, for the last couple of years, enterprise AI has basically been handed blank checks. But suddenly, those blank checks are turning into demands for receipts. Investors aren't just buying the promise of AI anymore. They're incredibly focused on the cost and the actual profitability of these massive infrastructure buildouts. The blind excitement is fading fast. The big takeaway here is this new corporate reality. Businesses are now strictly demanding measurable ROI from their AI deployments. They want absolute hard proof that this tech actually increases productivity. Because of that, we're seeing a massive push for much clearer, usage-based AI pricing models instead of those flat, exorbitant fees we saw early on. Plus, the foundation models themselves are increasingly competing on cost efficiency. Enterprise customers are essentially forcing the big hyperscalers to prove that their tools make real financial sense. Moving right along to Section 3, Energy, Cyber, and Infrastructure. The physical cost of a digital world. Because you simply cannot have a massive enterprise AI boom without paying the physical and security costs to sustain it. Let's look at the energy side first. Remember that diplomatic progress we talked about earlier? Well, oil prices are actually retreating right now because of it. Markets are betting on reduced risk in the Middle East, and a return to normal energy flows through critical choke points like the Strait of Hormuz. So on the traditional fossil fuel front, geopolitics are providing some much-needed relief. But contrast that relief with this. Power demand from AI has become a massive dominant industry theme. Hyperscalers are continuing these insane data center buildouts, and those facilities are incredibly hungry for electricity. To put it in perspective, some forecasts show a single new AI facility demanding as much power as a small city. Utilities worldwide are scrambling. We are seeing a rapid acceleration in grid modernization, huge investments in transmission lines, and even renewed policy pushes for nuclear energy, literally just to keep these servers running. And look, when you build out all that infrastructure, you paint a giant target on your back. Consider the string of recent tech breaches that are currently under investigation. Tata Electronics is looking into a reported cyber attack. We've got serious concerns around Apple-linked trade secrets emerging from breach reports, and Tesla-related data security issues are under heavy scrutiny. This right here is exactly why cybersecurity has suddenly skyrocketed to become the #1 boardroom priority across the globe. Federal cybersecurity officials are paying incredibly close attention to one specific type of threat right now: the supply chain breach. If you're not familiar, this is a cyber attack that infiltrates a major organization not by hitting their heavily guarded front door, but by targeting the less secure elements within their supply network or a third-party vendor. It's the backdoor approach. The Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance is actively warning that rapidly advancing AI capabilities are being used to execute these exact types of attacks. All right, let's zoom in a bit. Let's shift our focus down from the massive global data centers and state-sponsored hacks right down to your desk. Section 4, Reshaping the Modern Workforce and How AI Impacts Your Daily Workflow. We are seeing AI actively take over routine white-collar tasks, and it's happening in clear, practical steps. First, software developers are increasingly relying on AI coding assistance, which is fundamentally reshaping how dev workflows operate. Second, general knowledge work automation is accelerating across the board as employers hunt for those productivity gains we mentioned earlier. And third, we are finally seeing multimodal AI agents move out of quirky pilot programs into actual daily production. This is exactly how corporations are hunting for that measurable ROI. Because of this rapid integration, the entire hiring landscape is shifting under our feet. Tech hiring remains incredibly selective right now. A skills-based hiring approach is really gaining traction, and the demand for employees who are already AI literate is surging. Being AI literate isn't just a nice little bonus anymore. It is the new baseline requirement. We're even seeing corporate training programs being completely overhauled to incorporate AI tools just to make sure their current workforce doesn't fall behind. Which leads us to our final stop today, Section 5, The Next Frontiers: Space Exploration and Next-Generation Healthcare. While the enterprise software market is maturing and demanding ROI, this same data-driven approach is yielding truly incredible advances out on the fringes. It is genuinely fascinating to watch the capital flow into these areas. In commercial space, SpaceX is conducting a debt offering that's attracting intense investor interest, while NASA continues prep for upcoming lunar initiatives. And back down on Earth, the convergence of computation and medicine is stunning. AI is drastically improving drug development timelines, AI-assisted diagnostics are gaining broader adoption, and cancer research programs are reporting steady, highly promising progress. The tech is maturing, and the real-world benefits are starting to powerfully compound. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly important thought to end on today. We've seen how diplomacy is stabilizing markets, how AI is being forced to deliver real-world financial returns, and how our physical infrastructure is groaning under the weight of this digital evolution. But it all comes back to you. In a matured, deeply connected economy where being AI literate is the absolute baseline expectation, how are you positioning your own skills? Are you adapting to these new tools, or are you just hoping the old workflows will hold out? It's a question every single one of us needs to answer as we step into this new pragmatic reality. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer. Keep learning, keep adapting, and keep looking forward. Catch you next time.